It is episode number 22 of the River City Hardball podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Gibson, and it's a pleasure to welcome in my friend from Bishop Kenny. He is a Major League Baseball draft prospect and a commit and signee to the University of Florida. Colby Halter joins us on the podcast. Colby, great to catch up with you, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Really good to see you, Andrew. Thanks for having me on.
You know, Colby, you and I talked months ago when you guys had just begun the season at Bishop Kenny, just a few games into the year, when we talked at the spring showcase. And, you know, COVID-19 came through and it canceled the season. How have you dealt with having this year canceled?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when it first happened, it was kind of like a whirlwind. No one really thought it was going to happen like it did, and just things started getting canceled. So it was a little bit weird, and I really didn't have time to reflect on it. Just trying to take every day as it comes and see what the best thing I could do that day was. But, I mean, looking back, it definitely it's heartbreaking, really. You know, I was at Kenny for 4 years and got really close with all the coaches and all my teammates over the years. I mean, it's sad that we didn't get to finish out the season and get to finish out my senior year the way I would have liked. But I feel like I have a lot of good memories at Kenny, and I mean, no one can take those away from me. So,
you know, you're an athlete that's processing everything that's gone on your senior year, plus the fact that you have a bright future ahead of you, whether you go to Florida, whether you go in the Major League draft. I mean, how have you been able to process? You got your senior year canceled. Now you're focusing on what lies ahead now.
Yeah, I mean, really, the most important thing for me was just every single day during quarantine and trying to figure out what I could do to get better that day, you know. It was pretty much like another off season, and luckily I found a gym that was open the whole time, so I was lifting every morning and hitting every single day with anyone who was home. Like guys like Ben Gamel are home from the MLB because they're not playing either, so getting to train with guys like that has been great. But, I mean, really, I don't think anyone knows how to process it necessarily. I mean, we're still going through it right now, and just it's uncharted territory for sure. So,
as we put a wrap on your Bishop Kenny career, what's your favorite memory of playing for the Crusaders?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to choose from. I mean, I'd say some of my favorite memories are just 5 a.m. in the weight room with the whole team, and I mean that's a big thing at Kenny's, being a team, and we do a lot of stuff to get bonded like that, and working out at 5 in the morning is a big part of all that. But I'd say a game memory is probably my freshman year, winning district championship versus Fernandina. We won on a walk-off, and I mean, I didn't know that as a freshman, but the next couple of years they're always a big rival, and I love playing against Fernandina. So, I mean, there's a lot to choose from, really. I've been really super lucky at Bishop Kenny. But yeah, we went on a walk-off, and the whole team was. And after the game in the locker room, we had a super big speaker that Coach Witt got us, and we were playing music as loud as we can. And it comes up in my Snapchat memories every year. It gets another year longer. Can't help but smile, you know. So that was definitely a good one.
That's awesome. You played all over the infield at Kenny. I know third base. You pitched. Was there a favorite position that you played?
Yeah, actually, I started at shortstop my freshman year, and I never really played anything other than that unless I was pitching. And I played second a couple of times, and like if my arm was sore from the day before pitching. But I mean, I love pitching at Kenny. I don't know how much I'll pitch in the future, but I definitely took it super serious and feel like I did well. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know I saw a list that mentioned you know, shortstop and some few other positions, but I know you played several positions at Bishop Kenny. Let's talk about moving forward now. The Major League draft was cut down dramatically from 40 rounds to 5 to this year. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely unfortunate that they had to do that and take such extreme measures, just because there's so many guys that deserve a shot at pro ball and so many like gems in the rough, I guess, that you never. I mean, there's tons of big leaguers that come from rounds 20 and on. So to cut it to 5 is definitely a big change, but. I mean, I guess the teams are going to do what they want to do. I know that, like, scouting directors and departments like that, they wanted to have more than 5 rounds, but it's kind of the owners, it seems, that didn't want to have that, and MLB baseball itself, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy because I read an article earlier today. Last year, there were 1,217 players drafted. This year, including the compensatory picks, there'll be 160 players drafted. And it's just it honestly it's killed a lot of dreams. I mean, there's some guys that may have given up baseball because of the fact that there's no chance of them being drafted at this point now.
It's definitely sad for the game. I don't know.
Jacob deGrom was drafted in the 9th round. So, I mean, there's tons of talent out there that, just may not get seen. But, focusing on the first couple of rounds, obviously with the previous draft with 40 rounds, there's no question you would have been drafted. Are you still confident that in 5 rounds you might hear your name called?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't like talking about myself a whole lot, but there's definitely a pretty good chance I'll get drafted. And really right now it just comes down to like the money and if they can make it right for me, or otherwise I'll go to Florida, which is also a great opportunity. I love the Gators and I've wanted to go there my whole life. So really it's just my advisor's job right now to talk to teams and try to negotiate a contract that makes sense.
Yeah, you're probably aware of this, but ESPN came out with a top 150 of draft prospects, and I think your name was 87th on that list. Some people might say that's pretty good, but what did you think about it?
I try not to look at the list and stuff too much, just because if you get caught up in looking at all that stuff, it's gonna be rough couple of weeks, or just even getting ranked your whole life. That's not what's important to me. But I'm happy to be on the list. Hopefully I go a little bit higher than that in the draft, but we'll see coming up soon. So
I saw you post a tweet, I think it was today or yesterday, and it was like basically a motivational tweet. Was it because of that list, or what was it about?
Not that list per se. Just some things that go on behind the scenes in the baseball world, and some opinions of others that I try not to listen to, but sometimes you got to use them as fuel and motivation. So I definitely doing that.
Let's talk about the University of Florida. You mentioned that's been a lifelong ambition of yours. If you get drafted, there's certainly the professional route, but talk about the decision to go with the Gators possibly.
Yeah. Like I said, it's an absolutely awesome opportunity, especially with the new stadium and all the amenities that'll have. That's awesome. I'm actually going to tour that tomorrow at 1:00 with Coach O'Sullivan and a couple other guys. So that'll be really cool to see. Coach O'Sullivan and the whole staff's a great staff. They've proven, like guys like Jonathan India, if you go and hit in the SEC for 3 years, you're going to get paid coming out of college. So guys like Austin Martin, just look at what he's done. So I'm really excited for the opportunity if it comes, and especially baseball to me is the most important thing is winning, and having some mentors. They say that the college game is all about winning and a team environment, and that's what I love most about baseball, honestly. So I feel like I'd love Florida, love to go compete for a College World Series, and we're definitely going to have a really good team the next couple of years. So, there'd be nothing better than that, honestly.
Yeah, and the Gators really missed out on an opportunity this year having the season canceled because, as you know, a number 1 team in the country, they were loaded, and they'll continue to be. There's some really good players that are still playing there, including yourself, if it comes to that point. But, man, I can't imagine what it was like for them to lose a season where they could have won the College World Series this past year.
And talking to some of the players that are on the team now, we've gotten closer with them. They said my freshman year at Kenny was just one of the players on the team, Tucker Talbot, was at Kenny with me. And, our team, that was probably the closest team camaraderie we had all 4 years I was there. It was amazing, great leaders as seniors. And just me as a freshman, I felt like really a great part of the group, and we had an awesome season. But Tucker said one thing, if you could compare one season to that season, it'd be this Gator season this year. The whole team was super close and just all focused on the goal of winning and having a great time. You get hot as a team, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of. And that's what he said was going on. So it definitely stinks that they got cut short.
A couple more minutes here with you, Colby. I want to present a scenario to you. You may or may not know the answer to this just yet, but say, for example, you get drafted next week. The money's right. Will you go pro?
I say, yeah, most likely if the money's right. And, it's something that has been on my mind a lot, and I've been praying about it, talking to my family and talking to mentors that I have. There's no easy decision because Florida's such a great school, and pro ball is definitely tough. But, if the money's right, yeah, then definitely I'll be signing next year and ready to start my professional career. And I love baseball so much. I'm ready for it being my job, definitely. So
That's awesome. A few more things. With all that's going on with Major League Baseball, have you kept up with that? The owners and the players, kind of arguing back and forth about money. We haven't seen a pitch of baseball yet this year, and it's already June 5th. Have you kept up with that? And what's your kind of take on what's going on?
Yeah, I've kept up with it a little bit for sure, and I definitely don't have an expert opinion on any of that stuff because players union and the MLB negotiating is way over my head right now. But I get an interesting perspective just with Ben because he's a part of the players union, and I get to hear what it's like from the big league side. And I think that I hope they can come to an agreement just as a baseball fan because we're all missing baseball right now, and really would love to see him play. And I know a lot of the players they're ready to go and they've been staying ready and they want to play too. But at the same time, they can't go out there and play for a salary that doesn't match what they should be getting paid, especially when they've already taken cuts. So I don't know. I see both sides for sure, but I just hope they can come to an agreement and start playing the game because I know that's what they all want to do anyway.
Yeah, I have a friend who's an agent, and we've been texting back and forth throughout this whole process, and he's just telling me, he's got a guy, for example, a relief pitcher that makes normally $750,000, and the 50-game proposal that was on the table would give that guy $250. So, it's a big cut. I mean, no question, it's a big cut. Fans will gripe and say, they make too much money anyway, but it's like, hey, if somebody came to your job and your boss said, I want you to take a cut, and then, oh, yeah, by the way, we want you to take another cut on top of that. I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough.
Guys are extreme talents, and, you get paid better for that. It makes sense, and especially guys that are in their prime right now and, the average big league career when you make it to the bigs, which is 95% of the players don't make it to the big leagues, but it's like 3.5 years right now is the average in the league. So taking away $1 million from a guy like that is taking almost away like a third of his earnings that he's supposed to live on for the rest of his life. So, that's definitely just one part of it, but it definitely stinks.
A few rapid fire questions, and I'll get you out of here, man, on this Friday night. I appreciate you joining me. Favorite Major League player, either current or of all time?
Chipper Jones, definitely. I love Chipper and got to meet him this summer, so that was freaking awesome. But yeah, Braves are my favorite team, and Chipper was a great role model growing up.
That's awesome, man. It's funny you say that because I grew up as a Braves fan, and I'm a huge Chipper Jones fan as well. I haven't had the chance to meet him, but what was that experience like, man? That had to have been pretty cool.
Yeah, so we PDP this summer at IMG, and one of the teams was Team Jones, and he was the captain of the team, and I was on Team Jeter, and there's Team Howard and Team Larkin. But he came down and stayed for about a week. He actually stayed the longest of any of the guys, and me going to Kenny and him going to Bolts, we got some nice little trash talk going back and forth when I met him and stuff. And the agency I'm with is Chipper's agency, so we knew mutual people and got a good conversation going. And he actually came out to like our BP, Team Jones's or Team Jeter's BP every single day he was there, and we got to hit BP together. And I used to have a toe tap like him. I modeled my swing after him growing up, and just a lot of pointers that he gave me that will stick with me forever. And especially, he's larger than life to me, And when I was like 8 years old going to a Braves game, my mom's like, "Hey, Colby, you want to get a picture with Chipper?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, are you kidding me? Yes. Like, I'm so excited. She's like, "All right, over." And it was like him in the background. I'm like, "Mom, what the heck?" But so getting to meet him in real life was awesome, and he's a great guy.
That's awesome, and he's definitely represented Jacksonville well. I know when he went into the Hall of Fame, he mentioned Jacksonville and Bowles, so that's pretty cool.
Definitely, no, that's good.
Awesome. Well, hey, Colby, I appreciate a few minutes of your time. I think my internet's kind of messing up or something like that, but hey, I appreciate a few minutes of your time, and best of luck. We'll keep in touch, okay?
Absolutely, Andrew. Thanks for talking to me, man.